Pero ito,
Madam
subject to
Chair,
appeal.
Madam Chair, point of order muna.
There's a point of order, Honorable.
Ano ko yung ba pinag-uusapan natin?
This is about confidential fund.
Oo.
Yes, this is about confidential
Ang
funds.
pinag-uusapan natin kanina,
Madam Chair,
Kung
this is
10
regarding
lang,
confidential
ay,
Let's,
funds.
nagpapa-
let's
Papaliwanag
allow
pa
the
ako eh.
Honorable Abante to finish the point of order.
Kill you if I am killed. That is a threat from the grave, so-called. Even, Madam Chair, even the late presidential legal advisor, the late Juan Ponce Enrile, I saw him in an interview. He said there is no crime because it is conditional. The entire, statement about killing somebody only arises if you are dead, and both of them are very much alive. However, this is now the situation, Mr. Madam Chair. The one who said it is the Vice President. The persons where the conditional threat is being mentioned is the President, the First Lady, and the Speaker. And so this committee will have to therefore decide whether that reaches the sufficiency of form and substance. First is the culpable violation of the Constitution. Second, betrayal of public trust. And third, other high crimes. To support these three grounds for impeachment, as found in our Constitution, it has three acts that are alleged to support these three, and which are assassination plot, sedition, and subversion. Let us go first to subversion, not as a crime itself, but as a support to the three, either of the three. And so, subversion, Madam Chair, was precisely made illegal in 1937 under Republic Act 1700. However, subversion, like in this case, they state subversion of constitutional order, subversion, Republic Act 1700, was repealed precisely in 1992 during democratic times. In 1992, Republic Act 7636 removes subversion. It cannot be a crime nor a support now to the three grounds that we have. Completely repealed in 1992. The subversion aspect of an act of a Filipino. Then we have sedition, Madam Chair. Sedition is an act of publicly uprising and tumultuously engaging in acts to really remove the established government and officials. So it cannot be because Sara Duterte did not publicly rise with arms to be able to remove the present government. Probably what they want to say is inciting to sedition. Because sedition itself is governed by our Article 139 of the Revised Penal Code, the rising publicly and tumultuously. If you go to Article 142, this will be inciting to sedition, but there is also no recital of facts that the Vice President made speeches or made publications to say, let us remove the present administration. Nothing. In fact, yesterday, if you see the video, she was just present. When her father spoke. Second, when Kibolo had a mass, had a gathering, but she did not speak there. So therefore, against the present government. So these two are out, definitely out. Subversion of constitutional order is no basis to say there is violation of the Constitution, nor sedition, or even inciting to sedition. So we now go to assassination plot. Here we go. This is what is cited in the first paragraph on factual allegations is under the page 28, paragraph 85. Ito na. Already asked a person to take revenge and that if I get killed, patayin mo si BBM, Lisa Raneta, at si Martin Romualdez. No joke. Now, we have to distinguish, Madam Chair, between conditional threat and threat with a condition. This is defined by the Supreme Court. What is a conditional threat and what is threat with a condition? Example of a second one. Threat with a condition. I will kill you if you not give me 1 million pesos. That is a threat with a condition. That's still, there's still liability. However, conditional threat, like I'll kill you if I am killed, that is a threat from the grave, so-called. Even, Madam Chair, even the late presidential legal advisor, the late Juan Ponce Enrile, I saw him in an interview. He said there is no crime because it is conditional. The entire, statement about killing somebody only arises if you are dead, and both of them are very much alive. However, this is now the situation, Mr. Madam Chair. The one who said it is the Vice President. The persons where the conditional threat is being mentioned is the President, the First Lady, and the Speaker. And so this committee will have to therefore decide whether that reaches the sufficiency of form and substance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Zamora.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make another manifestation regarding Article 1. The first,
Confidential funds. Pero mahalagang tandaan na ang paggamit ng confidential funds ay governed ng COA DBM Joint Circular 2015-01. Sa circular na ito, kinikilala na ang confidential funds ay ginagamit para saan? Surveillance activities, intelligence gathering, informant payments. Dahil dito, cash transactions talaga lahat yan. So hindi porket may mga cash transactions o may movement ng funds, ibig sabihin, meron ng malversation o merong corruption na nangyayari. Hindi rin pwedeng sabihin, bakit nagastos yung pera in 11 days as alleged? Dahil ang spending, yung bilis ng paggastos, hindi naman automatic, ibig sabihin illegal na. Confidential operations often require immediate payments to sources like informants. Ang mas mahalagang problema sa complaint ay hindi nito pinapakita kung saan napunta ang pera. May personal benefit ba na pumunta o nakuha ang Vice Presidente? Wala sa complaint allegations na tumanggap siya ng bahagi ng pera. Walang nakasaad na may asset bang nabili using that funds. May bank transfer ba papunta sa kanya? Ang reliance ng complaint, kung babasahin natin, mula sa mga COA audit findings. Audit Observation Memorandum, Notice of Suspension, Notice of Disallowance. Pero sa ilalim ng COA Audit Rules, ano ba yung Audit Observation Memorandum? Preliminary observation lang ito. Ano yung Notice of Suspension? Pagkulang ang dokumento. Ano yung Notice of Disallowance? Administrative finding. Pero ito,
Madam
subject
Chair,
to appeal.
Madam Chair, point of order muna.
There's a point of order. Honorable Suntay, let's hear the point of order of the Honorable Abante.
Yung ba pinag-uusapan natin? Ano ko yung ba pinag-uusapan natin?
This is about confidential fund.
Oo.
Yes, this is about confidential
Ang
funds.
pinag-uusapan natin kanina,
Madam Chair,
Kung
this is
sandali
regarding
lang,
confidential
Let's,
funds.
Nagpapa-
let's
Papaliwanag
allow
pa
the
ako eh.
Honorable Abante to finish the point of order.
ang pinag-uusapan natin kanina, kung yung office ng Secretary of Education, saka yung Vice President's office, impeachable offense ba yun?
Madam Chair,
Ang pinag-uusapan yun. Dali lang,
complaint.
nagsasalita pa
Kindly
ako.
wait until he
Baka naman,
finishes.
No. Binapaliwanag mo kung paano ginamit ang confidential fund. Hindi pa naman pinag-uusapan yan eh. Pangalawa, paliwanag. Dapat yan pinag-uusapan yan sa impeachment court. Hindi dito. Madam Chair, yun lang.
For the guidance of the Honorable Abante, there are allegations as to misuse of confidential fund in the office of the Department of Education with the Vice President as Secretary of Education. So, it is my humble submission that the manifestation of the Honorable Suntay is aligned to the deliberation on the second ground of the fourth impeachment complaint. The point of order is overruled.
Thank you very much, Madam
The Honorable
Chair.
Suntay may proceed.
And to my good friend, Congressman Abante, if I may continue.
You may. Thank you.
Hindi ito automatic proof ng graph o malversation. Ito ay consistent sa sinabi ng Supreme Court sa Navales versus People at Guillen versus People. GR numbers 219598 at 220108. Kung saan sinabi ng Korte na procedural irregularities on procurement violations do not automatically result in criminal liability or graft. Makikita rin, kagaya ng sinabi ng aking paboritong colleague, Congressman Joel Chua kanina, may nabanggit siya tungkol sa kay Madriaga, affidavit ni Madriaga. May tanong ko lang, nasaan ba si Madriaga? Di ba, nakakulong yata. So we are relying on an affidavit issued by an individual who is currently in prison. Now, sino ba si Madriaga? Meron ba siyang appointment kay BP Sara to prove that he is an employee or an authorized person? Para ma-direct na naman natin yung linkage nung dalawa. Kasi if we rely heavily dun sa affidavit niya, it should not come
Madam
from
Chair,
a polluted force.
point of
Madam
order.
Chair.
There's another point of order. Let's hear the Honorable Dilima.
Are we talking now here about the credibility of a prospective witness in these proceedings? We're not yet at the evidentiary stage. We're not yet supposed to judge whether or not Mr. Madriaga is credible. So it is premature and it tries to divert the matter now. We are just talking here about the confidential funds and also about the concurrent capacity, of the commission of offenses of the Vice President in her concurrent capacity as Secretary of Education. So
Madam
let's
Chair.
not talk yet about whether or not worthy, whether or not credible, whether or not totoo yung sinasabi ni Madriaga. We have yet to hear from him, aside from this sworn testimony, or sworn affidavit. So that's out of order, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Suntay.
it is necessary to raise this because his affidavit is attached to the complaint and it is relied on heavily. Yun lang ang point ko.
Nevertheless, the Honorable
But-
Suntay, please be reminded that we are only at the stage of the sufficiency in substance. We are not discussing yet the weight of the evidence attached.
Yes, I know, Madam Chair. I
The
just
point
want to
of
make that
order is
manifestation.
sustained.
Madam Chair,
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, just a quick rebuttal.
The Honorable Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I agree with the...
The Honorable Chua is reminded to refrain from further commenting to the manifestation which has been the subject matter of the point of order of the Honorable Dilima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, this is just a recital of facts. By the reading of the affidavit itself, titignan po natin kung meron nga po talagang offense charge. At maliwanag naman po dito, meron pong perang nilabas, as cited in paragraph 1, in paragraph 1, 2, 3 of the complaint. And ito pong 125 million na binabanggit dito, sinabi rin po sa paragraph 125 ay pinasa sa kay certain Dante La Chica. At dito rin po sa paragraph, dito rin po sa complaint na to, maliwanag sa paragraph 134 na sinasabi po ni Madriaga na siya po yung kumuha nitong pera at dineliver niya. So meron pong money trail na hinahanap po tayo. Now, bakit po nakunik ang Vice President? Kasi po, sinasabi rin po dito sa paragraph 150, sinasabi po dito na yung pong pagpapasa ng pera from the SDO to another na wala naman pong koneksyon ay upon the instruction of the Vice President. Now, dito rin po sa ating affidavit, nakalagay rin po dito at dinefine din po dito kung ano po ang definition o element ng graft and corruption. Nakalagay po yan sa paragraph 146. RA number 3019, paragraph 3A, penalizes public officers who persuade, induce, or influence another public officer to perform an act constituting a violation of rules and regulation. Definitely, yung pagpupunta po ng pera from one person other than the SDO is a violation of rules and regulation. Thank you po.
Madam Chair, a quick
Thank you.
reply.
Before I call the Honorable Sontay, let me finish first with the list. The Honorable Nasal and then the Honorable Acosta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Article 2 likewise fails to meet the constitutional threshold of sufficiency in substance. The issues raised, particularly those concerning confidential funds, under Joint Circular number 2015-01, audit observation memoranda and notices of disallowance were substantially discussed during prior deliberations. Nung in-apply ng committee yung standards na ito during the PBBM proceedings, sinabi nun na ang preliminary audit findings are not final adjudications of liability. Audit observation memoranda and notices of disallowance remain appealable and subject to administrative and judicial review. Kaya standing alone, kitang-kita na these do not establish graft malversation or betrayal of public trust. Rapid liquidation by itself is not per se unlawful. Cash handling is intrinsic to the nature of confidential and intelligence funds. What must be pleaded are ultimate facts of unlawful conversion, personal appropriation, manifest bad faith, or a specific amount personally received by the respondent. Pag binasa yung complaint, wala naman naka-allege dito na essential elements. Puro inferences lang ang meron. Inference is not an ultimate fact. For these reasons, Article 2 likewise fails the insufficiency in substance threshold. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next is the Honorable Acosta.
Madam Chair, while I agree to the Congressman Nazal and Congressman Bong Suntay that COA findings are not criminal judgment, but are highly relevant in this discussion on whether or not pleaded facts in this fourth complaint shows an accountability breach. Our test here today for the members is whether the complaint, the fourth complaint, pleads objective audit red flags, which is the ultimate facts recited, supporting betrayal of public trust and that of graft and corruption, Madam Chair. My second question, Madam Chair,